Question number one. What is the importance of Black History Month in your point of view? Do you believe this month is to educate yourself more on the African American culture, or do you believe this month is a recognition?
So I believe that this one is very important to not only recognize your history, know your history, learn about your history, but also develop more about your culture and learn about it. You can't always know everything. So although this month happens every year, there's something new to learn from it. There's a new perspective to learn from it. Having conversations like this, you learn different perspectives and learn a lot more about yourself and about your culture.
I'm Black. I do this every day. So it's just a month. It's a month that I guess I'm more aware of the people around me, of my heritage, but Dr. Munil and Ms. Gazda also said that they come from somewhere else, so I come from a different country, so being Black to me is different than being American. So it looks different, but I also learn a lot about you guys' culture as well.
Does anyone from the audience have any rebuttal?
That caught my attention just now that you say you represent Black every day, but it's a different Black because you're from a different country. And I express all the time that when I say I do it for the culture, you know, hip hop, do it for the culture, amigos, you know, we feel like we're doing it for the culture, but then a lot of times we say, how do we identify our culture? Do we feel like we are African Americans or are we Black? And the reason why I always respond that I'm not African American, I'm Black American, because I feel like my culture is different than anything but African. So you being from a different country, you're learning American Black culture, not African American culture, to me. And that's just my opinion, but that caught my attention, and thank you for that statement.
I want to say I am learning African American culture, well, Black American culture, but you also do learn African American culture because I'm Caribbean, and even though I am Caribbean, African roots are everywhere. Like, they're in our music, they're in your music, they're in the stuff you wear, they're in everything comes, it's all intertwined in a way. So even if you think that's solely African, American, Black American culture, it's probably not. It was probably brought from Africa somewhere. It was probably brought from India somewhere. Like, my parents are Chinese, Trinidadian Chinese. So I have Chinese and Trinidadian in me, but I still am somehow mixed into the Black. So it's just all, everybody has their own variety or flavor, I like to say, into what they identify with. So you're learning every day different types. I think that's what we should do for Black History Month, learn different types. Like, learn African American culture, learn Caribbean American culture, learn Asian African American culture, because there's so many mixes and so many walks of life that you can't just say Black History Month. Because it shouldn't just be Black History Month. There's so many minorities that don't get their time to shine either. So.
What does African American culture mean to you is what we talked about. Is there a difference in definition between someone saying Black people or African American? Could anyone, such as Jordan Jones, elaborate more?
To me, I think there is a difference between Black culture and then African culture or African American culture. And honestly, I think it's about the perspective or the lenses that you look in life. In previous conversations that I've had and another discussion, we talked about being color brave and color blind. And in that conversation, I learned a lot about being color brave, which is embracing different things around you and embracing the culture around you. And to me, during this history month or doing my everyday life, I try my best to embrace myself with new culture and knowing the difference between being a Black African American female and then being just a Black African American person To me, there's difference because there's a difference in walk of life, how people treat you, how people look at you, the stereotypes, just like panel one was talking about, the stereotypes placed against you. And I want to educate people and understand that we put stereotypes on people when we first look at them. Before you even say hi to them, you put a stereotype on them. And that comes from the way we are as a culture, American culture, because that's the only culture I know. And I feel like American history and American culture has taught us to go ahead and place these stigmas on people and keep them oppressed and keep them just down and out. And so to me, just having a Black History Month and saying, well, is there a difference between Black and African American culture? Honestly, all I can say is it's about how you look at things, how far in your education you want to lead yourself.
I just want to say too, those are signifiers. If you study Negro history, Black history, African American history, now back to Black history, there's cultural signifiers tied to the moment. Some of the most powerful and enlightening work was done under the mantle of Negro. So when I teach it, that is not a derogatory term at all. Amazing enlightenment comes from Black power. So I don't have a problem with that either. So right now we're dealing with a signifier that's deemed politically correct for the historical moment, African American. Understand it's a label. It's going to switch and change.
Just to respond to that, I agree to that very much. I mean, I feel like when it comes down to just, like you were saying, like you put up your fist and it means so much. And for other cultures that don't understand, or let me rephrase that don't take the time to understand, it's very hard to explain to them, okay, this is why I'm proud. This is why I am the way I am. I have this blood that beats in me and races through me because this is what I embody, this is what I'm proud to be. And so when you use the term Negro and it comes with a negative connotation, I try my best, I know in my everyday walk of life, to bring a positive light on that, to bring a positive connotation on that, because I don't think your brother or your sister sitting next to you should be looked at in a negative light. I don't think that just because my skin is a little darker or my melanin is a little more present than yours, then that I should be a negative person. Yeah, I may have my negative days, and yes, you might see me in a different light, but at the end of the day, I want you to look at me as the person who's comfortable being in her skin, the person who's proud to embrace and embody the people that came before her and the people to come after her.
Cal Patterson, Jamal, and Christine, what is the viewpoint on a Black person using an N-word versus another culture saying it? To rebuttal what? Jordan.
I'll be happy to take that one. From the standpoint of as the white person on the panel, you know the arguments that come about. Well, why can't I say it? How come you can say it but I can't? History, not only history, but the term and what it means now. The connotation has changed. If two people see each other and they identify, they know the struggles that their history comes with. They identify the struggles that they currently live with because of whatever oppressive natures there are in the country that they are in right now. That is a term of acknowledgement, a term of brotherhood, a term of acceptance and appreciation of culture. That is not a way to denigrate another. Whereas if it comes from another race that use that word to oppress, it's a denigration. It's a release of hatred. It's an example of something that doesn't represent where we're trying to go.
Yeah, like Kyle said, it's like basically how we recognize one another. And me personally, like I try not to let my feelings get the best of me, because I feel like that's what society want me to do, is getting me out of my element and show you my true colors. And I don't want to do that. Like how I want to do it is, all right, you say it to me, but you're not gonna make me crack. Like I understand, like yeah, he said it to me, and back then, you know, people tried, you know, basically they didn't fight. They used their voice. They used their voice to talk and not really use their hands unless they had to. And that's how I try to approach things. When somebody says it to me, I don't really like, what? Like, nah, you ain't gonna say that to me. I'm like, I mean, all right, okay. I mean, I know I'm black, you know, that's just me. You can't make me, you're not gonna get me out of my element because I'm not gonna be the person that's gonna have, you know, that label. I'm gonna show you my blackness. I'm gonna show you my blackness a different way. The way that, you know, MLK wanted us to, not the way that somebody else did. You know, that's how I go about it.
I just have one question is, you know, you said they used the term as like brotherhood, but if you know the struggle and things like that, then why use the term? If we had so many people before us fight for the rights to not be called that, then why are we embracing the term to change it to be, oh, like, hey friend or something? Because if you think about it, you know, as our grandparents seen it and uncles and aunts and things, they look back and they're like, you shouldn't be saying that, you know? They feel differently about it than the younger generations do. So why is it that, I guess, millennials and younger people use that term in that way if it has such a negative meaning from the beginning and what our ancestors fought for? Do you feel that it's like a smack in their face to use that term and they're like, well, like, if your uncle says, why are you using that, young man, you know? Like, do you know the struggle that came with that, but you all don't really see it like that?
Can we keep all questions until after the panel finishes? I was instructed to do so can we please have all of our panel ask the question and then afterwards, then I will come back to you, if that is okay.
Well, as far as that, I agree with Sierra. I think that the word was used to demean black people. It was used in a derogatory way, and it still is used in a derogatory way to this day. You know, even though it's a way that we say, hey, what's up to each other, it's like we're singing a song or we're rapping a song, we say it because, you know, that's a part of the language that we use. Like, we use ebonics, that's what it is. But at the end of the day, it's like, should we use it? No. Do we use it? Yes, we do. And as far as other races using it, as you all may know, I'm biracial. And I don't like to use the word, but when it comes up and I'm singing and rapping a song, yeah, I say it. And I've been looked at a certain way because people look at me and they say, yeah, you're black, but you know, you're not black enough to do and say certain things. And when it comes down to that, I just see how pronounced that colorism is in the black community, and how the word and certain things that we do and say, it can bring us together, but it can also tear us apart.
All right, I was just gonna comment on your comment, Ms. Sierra, about us as millennials and us using it as a friendly gesture, and how like the older generation look down upon it. I was gonna say, me growing up, I think me using the word came about hearing it from my mom using it, my aunt using it, my uncles using it. I heard it so much as a kid, it kind of just became ingrained in me for whenever like I got old enough to say it. It was kind of just like, it just flowed naturally because I heard it so much. And so it was just like, I asked my mom one time, I was like, Mom, why do you keep saying it? Like, why is it that you said it as I was growing up, but you told me not to use it? You would use it every single day. You and whenever like Aunt Michi and like Uncle Bubba, all y'all get together, y'all talk, y'all use it so much. But as a kid, you say, don't use it, don't use it, don't use it. Well, that's basically hypocritical, Mom. Like, you're telling me not to use it, but you're using it. So it's kind of just like, that kind of was just like ingrained into like my culture and like my way of growing up whenever I was growing up. So it was kind of just like, I know it was kind of just like as like millennials, we use it a lot more. We use it a lot more like negatively, but it was kind of just like growing up, that's what I heard. And it was just like my mom growing up, that's what she heard. So it was kind of just like, I felt like it was just a thing passed down from generation to generation. And it was kind of just a thing of not so correcting it, but more so of just like, okay, well, it was used, you know, so we can use it too, you know, and we can use it for different things. We can use it to, we can use it to, I don't know the word I'm trying to use, but grief, or we can use it to like describe certain situations. So it's just like, as far as like that goes, it was just like, I guess it was kind of just how I was brought up. I heard it and I heard it and I heard it and I heard it. And you know how like whenever you see something, you're more than likely to do it. It was kind of just like hearing it. I did it. And I mean, my mom, she smacked me in the mouth one time because I said it in front of her and I said it in the car. And she smacked me and she said, I never want to hear you say that again. But now it's just like, now I'm older. We all go to cookouts and everything. We all talk. And I'll use the word, and my mom, she'll just go right by it, like I didn't say it. So it was kind of just like, I think it's just like kind of like a culture thing, and like how you were brought up, how the word was used, how the word was looked upon. So I think that's, you know.
Yeah, so I feel like going off of what he said, basically. So if like you're hearing it all the time, but if another culture like says it, you know, if they're hearing it, they're not hearing it in the same light as you're hearing it. So like if they come in there saying the N-word, they may not be saying the N-word that we saying. They saying another N-word because they don't mean it like we mean it. So at the same time we use it, we're not supposed to, but that's just how it is.
Mr. Leroy?
You speak to one of the things that Josh said was his mom said that he couldn't use it until he got older. And I think that comes with understanding. Just like curse words, when you curse your mom or your parents say, oh, don't use that word, you better not say that again. But as you get older, you use that word because you understand what that word means. And I think that's what it comes down to. As we use it in our culture or in today's time, we use that word because we know why we're saying it and what it means to say it. And you have that, I guess, that history that you learned that's where black comes from and that's where the word came from. And this is how we're going to take this word that was used to beat us down to build us back up. Does everyone look at it that way? No. Does everyone see it that way? No. When it comes down to other cultures and even other black people using that word, some will say, I don't ever want to hear you say that word. I don't think that word should be used for this, and it's wrong. And I think, like they said, it's kind of how you're brought up and how you feel about that word. And you let that show. If you don't like the word, you tell people, hey, please don't use that word around me. I don't accept that. Or for people who do like the word, you say the word and you allow other people to say the word. And like Jamal said, some of us allow the word to break us down and I guess show your true colors. That's what he said. But I feel like the word can be used the way you want to use the word and the way you feel about words. And the way words are, a word can be a different meaning to a lot of people. Word "the" can be changed so many ways, or "at," or "a." Like, we use "a" and we spell it so many different ways, but they don't mean the same thing. So whatever meaning that we have for the word or the way we use the word is based on us and how we portray and let other people use the word or say it around us. And that's how I feel about that.
Is there any more questions or comments from
What do you do if someone uses it in a negative way? Because I was with some people, we were walking down the street, there were a group of black kids, and this girl was like, look at those stupid, and she said the word with the ER. And I kind of just froze, like, she was like, oh no, I don't mean you, you're not like them. And I was just like, and I ended up leaving, but like, how do you handle that situation?
I know in my case, and for those who like really know me, my blood will boil immediately. And depending on my own mood, I'm gonna do one of two things. If I am in an irrational state of mind, I'm gonna get upset, and then I'm gonna try to take myself out of the equation and think of a responsible way to attack the situation. Because to me, I have to handle it like a business transaction. I need to be a professional in the response so that I can educate that person, not attack that person. so that they can understand the ill feeling and the feelings that I harbor against them using that word in that light. If I'm in an irrational mood, if I'm in a mood where I'm just quick with it, and I lash with my tongue, I'm able to throw out other words that hurt other people so that they can feel the way I feel. Is that the proper thing to do? No. But I feel like when it comes down to getting emotional and dealing with something in a sensitive light, I'm going to respond the way I feel is necessary, especially if I feel threatened. And like I said, I have two ways of approaching that. I would like to say that most of the time I approach it the first way I explained. Most of the time I don't. And most of the time I have to not necessarily rebuttal what I said, but go back and apologize for the way I said it. A lot of people who know me know that I will say, I'm not going to apologize for my words, but I'm going to apologize for the way that I said it, because I meant what I said, but not in the light in which I shared it to you.
I don't think this is a stereotype, but just based on observation, I think that African Americans, Black people, however you want to self-identify, minorities, in order to get respect, you have to be aggressive. And I say the N-word more than 5 times a day. But now that I'm thinking about it, I think it's a way for me to show that, I'm not going to be messed with. And I think it's also everything about me. Everything that comes out of my mouth, if I want to say something that I need people to listen to, over time, I've been taught, I guess unconsciously, that I have to be aggressive with it. I have to get my point across, but I also have to scare them, because I need them to know that I'm not about to be played with. So you change your vernacular. You change everything about you. When I'm talking with someone and they're a friend, I talk to them like, hey, yo, what's good? That's how I'm talking. I'm talking like that. And you're going to see a total shift in dynamic. You're going to see a total shift in posture, vernacular, everything. And that just comes from the need to, or the void to want to be respected. So on the stance of should we use the N-word or not, or should other people, I don't think other people should use it like everybody said based on history. I think that we should reclaim our identity, just like BSU holds near and dear. And so if we're going to take that word and we're going to flip it into something positive, then by all means. But if we're going to continue to use it oppressively, if we're going to continue to use it in terms that hurt or harm one another, then I don't think we should use it. And I think we should also find different means to be respected and go about being valued members of society. Because we learn so many unconscious rules and regulations to get our point across that this is just what it is. There's so many times I go on Twitter and I'm like, I feel like all Black people live the same life. We just all go through the same thing, just differently, or maybe at different times. But we all live the same life. And since we do, maybe we should go about different ways of doing that, living, just in general,
And Camilla, back to what you were saying about who you were with your friends or just an associate. Well, when it comes to that, I would say a lot of people, they're racist and they doing say certain things because they're not informed or they lack knowledge, they're ignorant. I think you definitely have to stand your ground. Like I'm from up north too, I'm from DC, and when I moved down here with my mom and my little brother, it was a different atmosphere and a different vibe because this is down south. And it was certain things that I was appalled that I didn't understand because I wasn't used to it. Like the controversy about the Confederate flag and the way I was talked to, the way I was looked at, the way me and my family were looked at, because we live on Main Street, Millionaires Row. We were the only Black homeowners there, and people looked at us a certain way. They weren't welcoming. They were very rude. And my mom went to go vote. Somebody called her a negress. And she told me, she said she didn't say anything because she was in shock. Because we're from up there, that doesn't happen. But I told her, like, you're down south, things are different. You have to stand your ground, especially with your friends or with your associates if you're with them. It's important to, like, inform them, but also stand your ground and let them know that's not going to be tolerated. Leaving is good too. I wouldn't hang around them anymore, but make sure you let them know and inform them and give them some knowledge on what they just said. And like Ms. Gossa said, like, ask them if they were aware of what they were saying and what it meant. Because they may have grew up somewhere where that's all they know. So it's your job to move yourself in a situation and not associate with people like that, but also let them know that's not okay and to do better.